Time now, though, for the markets with Leighton. And Leighton, you say we have some historic news for the biofuels industry.
And also a fast food chain plans ads that showcase farmers. Also in the markets this week, catfish producers have reason to remain upbeat. Analysts say ethanol usage could increase, while a recent rally in the wheat sector is a surprise of sorts. For livestock, poultry, and catfish producers, a prediction this week of declining corn cost heading into 2012 is certainly encouraging news. For catfish, this year of 2011 has brought decreases in processing, but higher pond bank prices. Extension Ag economist John Michael Riley brought us an aquaculture update on Thursday. Well, John Michael, 2011 would be considered a fairly good year if you were a catfish producer in Mississippi.
Well, if you look at the price that you got at the pond bank, I think you could say that prices roughly expected to increase about 47%. We're still waiting on a few of these later month numbers to come in, but I'm projecting that right now about 47% increase in price, averaging for the year right at $1.17 a pound. So a vast improvement compared to where we were at last year, which was an improvement from previous years as well. A lot of that has to do with the pullback in supply. We've seen water acres across the region come down here in the state, a 38% decline over the past 2 years. Last year was a steep decline. This year, a continued decline in terms of the number of water acres for catfish farming. So the pullback in supply has pushed prices up, but which is really good as a grower. But on the other side of that, you're offsetting that by the fact that they are still facing some really high feed costs. And that's, the feed costs are really high component of those production costs. So any gains that they've seen in terms of the price they get is almost negated.
Now there are some prediction or forecast this week that corn and other feed grains are going to be coming down some for 2012. That obviously would improve that picture some for catfish.
We have seen the price of corn and soybeans, come down over the past couple of weeks. Again, it is a high component of those production costs. So anytime you do see an easing off there, it definitely does help alleviate the situation. The prices that they're receiving, should continue to move in the path that they've been on for 2011, because we are just at in a really tight supply situation for our catfish industry. So that should be received as good news.
Now, as far as foreign competition, the foreign imports, that is a problem that is not going away by any means.
It has been, it continues to be, and based on where prices are at for our domestic catfish, it is one that's not going to go anyway anytime soon. Retailers, they're feeling the ramifications of these higher prices, and they're looking for other alternatives to make available to consumers.
Fast food giant McDonald's is planning a new ad campaign, one that will feature farmers. Brownfield Ag News reports the campaign will roll out in 2012. McDonald's Midwest Region Manager Debbie Roberts says, quote, "We will actually bring to the consumer the folks who are actually producing the product so that they know it's coming from the farm." McDonald's says the ads are in response to an increasing number of consumer questions about where the food served by the fast food chain comes from. Our trivia question is next on the program. We don't often ask anything about wheat, but we do this week. How many loaves of whole wheat bread does a bushel of wheat produce? Is it 29 loaves, or 42, or 77, or as many as 90? We'll tell you in just a few more minutes. The single largest purchase of biofuel in government history was announced this week. The Defense Department ordered 450,000 gallons of biofuel for the U.S. Navy. The fuel will include used cooking oil processed in Louisiana and some algae-based biofuel produced in California. The biofuel will be blended with marine diesel and with aviation jet fuel and gas for demonstration by Navy ships and aircraft next summer. Former Mississippi Governor and present Navy Secretary Ray Mabus says the Navy's goal is to use biofuels to cover half of its energy needs by the year 2016. From biofuel to ethanol now. 2011 is ending with very strong demand for corn for ethanol production, according to the website meetingplace.com. However, demand after the first of the year is much more uncertain due to the expiration of the blender's tax credit. Analyst Sue Martin seems to think the profitability is still there for ethanol in 2012.
We should see an increase in ethanol usage, and yet it's thought that the blender's credit's probably going away at the end of December. So how will the USDA address that? Will they look ahead and say that could slow up some demand? Or will they just look at where we are today? And of course, with crude oil over $100 a blue barrel and corn prices dropping like they have, I would think ethanol profitability is still there.
There are abundant supplies of wheat around the world right now, and that's why some analysts were surprised somewhat at what was billed as a temporary rally that occurred recently in that sector of the markets. Analyst Tom Fitzenmeyer of Summit Commodities, in fact, doesn't think wheat has a lot going for it right now. He says he thinks there's probably even a little more downside in this market yet.
That Black Sea wheat or feed grains in general are substantially underpriced from ours. There was some concern about, the winter wheat, but that's kind of gotten planted and found just enough moisture to sort of get it started. So that sort of faded back into the background as a market factor, wheat just doesn't have a lot going for it.
We're recording this program prior to the Friday, December 9 USDA supply and demand update. Brownfield Ag News reports analysts expect bigger soybean and wheat ending stocks in that report. Analysts on average see month-to-month rises in the ending stocks for U.S. beans and wheat against a smaller supply of corn. Well, to conclude our market segment, we have the trivia answer now to pass along. The correct choice is D. A bushel of wheat can yield about 90 one-pound loaves of whole wheat bread.